Hi, this is Lynn Susek, and I am your faith coach. So, I feel like I've done this one before, but I'm going to do it again. And if you've been following me for any length of time, you still might not have seen this one because I think it was a while ago. So you'd have to have been with me for like 2 years to see this. So I'm calling this one anger management for healing, because the violent shall take it by force is the key to entering the promised land. And so many times we've heard, and I've learned that kind of have to stir yourself up and get angry at your disability or how to resist. It's an anger. Now, not everybody would agree with this because you may have received not by being angry before as far as healing, but there is a way to take your healing, and it involves this righteous anger. And as I've been studying and thinking and asking the Lord, how do I take this thing by force, I noticed with, again, this one specific Star Trek episode where they're on a planet and it's paradise, and people there have been having these flowers blow on them, and these kind of endorphins or something. These, I know you don't want to hear that, but what happens on this planet is that these spores take over you, but they give you perfect health. And so what you're doing is you're just basically enjoying life and in perfect health. So what more could you want? But what happens is they are not productive. It's like being on a drug, okay? So if we're on a drug like marijuana or something all the time, what happens? You might feel good, and maybe you're not getting sick. Maybe you could stay healthy, I don't know, but you're not doing anything productive much. So when you get off the drugs, you're like, well, that was a wasted how many years? So the idea of having perfect health, appealed to them, and happiness. So they just kept going. Well, the way to break the spell, if you will, was for them to get angry. And I thought, well, this is really, going to fit in good with what I know that you can say what you want, but God speaks to me through movies, and there's so much He can tell us through spiritual, through movies and stuff. Now, this is scriptural, that's why I'm talking about it. So it's just, how does this look? Because really there's not detailed description, maybe there is and I don't know about it, in scriptures about taking things by force. So I've had examples through testimonies of people I know taking things by force and getting healed. And then, oh boy, there's something coming down the street, sorry. Oh. is a helicopter. Okay, so um, getting angry. Okay, so in this Star Trek uh, episode, in order to get them angry and snap them out of it, Kirk, who was angry, and that's why it didn't work on him, the flowers going, and then they would all kind of just, even Spock, get all emotional and happy, and they were like worthless. After that, they weren't listening, they weren't doing their job, and he was angry because he was losing control over his ship, and so his anger was there helping him resist. And I thought that is so true for us spiritually. That's how it works. It's a righteous anger. And so I was like on the edge of my seat, like, even though I saw this before, I was like, God's talking to me again. So I'm like, what's he gonna do to stir up anger? So he takes Spock back to the ship. He kind of tells him to come back to help him with something. And anyway, when Spock gets back, he starts insulting him and punching him and stuff to stir him up. And it worked. But then, as Spock said, well, you know, that worked for me, but what about these 500 other people that are now not on our ship? Well, I don't know what they did, and that doesn't matter. They got the whole crew to start, you know, snapping out of it. So, but for me, I need to stir myself up in anger against this last thing that I'm, you know, wanting to see change. And I do feel like I'm on a drug. I do feel like I'm like, can't get angry at it. And I need to. And I don't want somebody ministering to me a bunch of hurtful, negative things to try to make me angry. I don't think that's gonna work necessarily. So this is what I'm calling anger management. In a way, normally we're just so bent on not being angry as Christians that we don't know that there's a good kind of anger, and do not let the sun go down on your anger, as Andrew Womack says, means don't stop being angry, especially stir yourself up against evil, and then don't let it stop, you know, don't ever let it go, right? So I am angry against evil. However, I'm not really angry towards my handicap, my disability, the disability that I deal with. I kind of know what I want to feel like, and I know that I need that in order to start trying things, you know, in order to snap myself out of this. So I'm praying about it, and I'm considering, you know, this as like anger management to the opposite extreme, like how to get yourself angry, right? And towards anything that's a curse, anything that's evil, anything that's sick or coming on you, you need to have a constant anger against it. And if you're passive, like a lot of Christians are, and you just think being happy and peaceful and calm is always, you know, the best thing to do, then you don't really see a lot of change happen. And if our founding fathers did that, they would never have fought the revolution, and they don't fight against, you know, people are lulled to sleep, and they're not really fighting for freedom and justice. So there has to be a certain amount of anger, and I do have it, but not for this so much. So how do I stir myself up to become angry? That is the question, and wanted to bring that up and I feel like I have that for anything that comes on me. It's like getting shoved the first time. You know, if somebody shoves you like a bully, you get angry. But if you are a person that feels kind of helpless, that's a lack of faith, you know, then you just kind of, you're afraid instead of being angry and pushing back. So a lot of people don't know that they can push back, and they're afraid to. And I've kind of been lulled into feeling that I'm helpless, even though I know I'm not. But in my heart, you know, I need to change that. So anger management is the knowledge that you need to become angry at evil and discover what's evil in your life and make sure you stand up against it. And then the question remains, how do we do that? So if you have any stories about that, you know, leave me a testimony in the comments, and I'll let you know as soon as I come up with the answer with the Lord. And I have had it happen many times, just not so much with spinal cord injury. But I do constantly now feel that everything gets healed. That's one thing. That's a new change. You know, everything gets healed. So start believing that, like I said last time, and work on your anger management and towards evil, including sickness and injury. Amen. Don't let up on that. In Jesus' name, amen.